How do you know what God wants you to do in the season of your life? How do you know what God wants you to do? One of the most important thing as a believer is to know what God wants you to do. And many people struggle with this because sometimes you may just move with the crowd, you may move with what everyone else is doing. But it's very important to know what God wants you to do. The reason why it is important because that's where favor is, that's where you flourish in finding out what God wants you to do and pursue it. So, how do you know it? How do you know what God has called you to do? Number one, I'll give you a few points, but number one is that the problem that you keep seeing is the problem that you are called to solve. There are situations, there are instances where you keep seeing the same problem, and when you look at that problem, it is as if everyone else doesn't pay attention to it or they don't even see it. That is an indicator that is showing you what God is calling you to do. The problem that you keep seeing is the problem that you are often called to solve. So, what is the problem that you keep seeing? You keep seeing this problem. Like for me, one of the like the major problem that I keep seeing, it's ignorance of purpose. It's like people don't pay attention to the importance of purpose in everything that they do, because I believe that our lives should be built on the foundation of God's purpose for our lives. All the time that we have here on earth should be spent in the pursuit of purpose, because that's the reason why we are created. That's the reason why we exist. And everything that we do should align with God's purpose, should help us in one way or another to fulfill God's purpose for our lives, including the people we marry. The person that you get married to should be determined by God's purpose for your life. That is so important, but it is as if people don't pay attention to it. It's as if people don't care in my eyes. So that's the problem that I keep seeing. That's the problem that I am called to solve. No wonder I talk about purpose, the pursuit of purpose. Why? Because this is the problem that I am called to solve. Number two, what is it that you are passionate about? So there are certain things that you are passionate about, like now, when we are talking about passion, you can be passionate in a wrong thing. You can be passionate in something that you are not even good at. But what is it that you are passionate about? You would like to do something about it. What is it that fulfills you? Whenever you are doing that thing, you are fulfilled. That is an indicator of what God may be calling you to do. So look at your passion. Look at your passion. Number three, look at your giftings. What is it that you are good at? That you are good at doing. Look at the dominant gifts that you have. One of the dominant gifts that I have is the ability to communicate. I have the ability to communicate ideas. Right now, as I'm doing this, as I'm making this video, I'm not looking at anywhere or any notes. I have this ability to communicate where I can think of something and articulate it, be able to communicate it right away without taking time to think about it. So, what is the dominant gifts that you look at? The dominant gifts that you have. These dominant gifts are pointing to what God has called you to do. Number two, you need to study the scriptures to understand God's plan for your life. So, what is God's plan for your life? What is God's plan? What is God doing in this season? So, as you are studying the scriptures, as you get to know the word, you will understand what God is doing and what God wants to do with your life. Number two, through prayer. Oh, I don't know, I've even forgotten the number. The last one, but the last point I'll give you is that through prayer, as you are praying, God often gives us convictions about things. So sometimes when you are praying, God will give you a conviction about something. So that conviction, pay attention to it. That is what God is calling you to do. A concern for something. Just like in the story in the book of Nehemiah. Nehemiah heard the story about Jerusalem, how Jerusalem was, and he was concerned. He began to pray about it, and it's from that concern that he went and rebuilt the walls of Jerusalem. So sometimes it may be just a normal concern where you are concerned about something keeps coming to your mind, keeps coming to your heart. That is something that God wants you to do. So how do you know what God wants you to do? It's through these things that I've mentioned. If you can pay attention to the things that I've mentioned, they are pointing you to the things that God has called you to do. Hopefully you found value in this video. Kindly subscribe, share with your friend. God bless you.